Hey everyone, I'm Hannah with Lynchburg Parks and Recreation. I've been working with Taylor Harris to create this video for you to teach you how to make rustic autumn wreaths in the comfort of your own home. Now, at this point, you guys have picked up your box of materials, which included a grapevine wreath frame, which we're going to be using quite a bit. It also included some natural materials such as pine cones, acorns, and other nuts and berries. If you have a large backyard and would like to collect your own berries, please feel free to do so, but before you attach them to your wreath, you're definitely going to want to make sure that they're dried out all the way. We've also included some greenery such as flowers and tree branches and other natural clippings, as well as some pre-cut wire. Now, you're going to be using this wire a little bit, so you might want to grab your own scissors. The wire is not thick enough that you need wire cutters to cut it. It will cut just fine with a pair of old scissors. You might want to grab from your own home a hot glue gun to help secure some items on. And when you picked up your box, you also should have picked up a bow or ribbon of some sort. You should have selected that yourself. So the last thing we included in there were some dehydrated fruit that can be used to accent the wreath and look quite nice by the time you're done. So now that you know what you're going to be using, let's go get started. Your first step is going to be to sort through your materials that we've sent you and determine what your focal point is going to be, whether it's going to be a bow or other natural materials such as pine cones or anything else that you've collected or we've included. Now, this is going to vary from person to person, and it is completely based on your own personality and preference, so don't feel like you have to do exactly what I'm doing or what you've seen somebody else do. Make this your own wreath. Make this your own piece of art. Once you figured out exactly what your focal point to be, you're going to want to go through your other materials and determine the colors and pieces that are going to help to accent that. So I'm going to choose berries that will accent the green in my ribbon, and you may need to snip off pieces so that it will fit onto your wreath. So just like that, you want to leave a little bit of stem so that way we can weave it into our wreath, and just lay those pieces out in a way so you kind of get an idea of how you want to arrange your wreath. Now what I'm doing here is laying my longer sprigs in behind the shorter sprigs, and I'm going to use the shorter sprigs of berries to accent that green in the wreath, or green in the ribbon, excuse me, as well as using these longer sprigs to kind of give it a little bit of volume, as well as the flowers on the sprigs to accent the white in the wreath. It may take some time as you lay it out and play with the materials that you are given to figure out exactly how you want to arrange them on your wreath. Now, it's totally personal preference as to if you want to fill the entire wreath or just a portion, whether it's the side or the bottom. And I really like to leave the natural color and the natural vine of the grapevine wreath because it's already a natural beauty in and of itself, and it's got some color and adds some character to the wreath if I leave a little bit of blank space in there and just accessorize it with the greenery. Your next step is going to be to start adding materials to your wreath. You're going to want to start from the outside in. So my focal point is going to be the side of the wreath, so I'm going to start towards the outside of the wreath and just weave materials in, starting at their little stem. I might have to clear off some branches so I have a cleared stem, just like that. And that way I have plenty to weave into the wreath. And you can just start by finding a hole in your wreath and poking it in and weaving it in. There you go, just like that. And then make your way in, starting with the longer sprigs, which are the back, which are going to be the back part of your wreath. and then make your way in. You only want about, say, 3 inches of stem, so you may have to trim that. And you can just use your scissors for that. And just weave it right on in, just like so. Now, if they're sticking up more than what you want, you can take some of your wire, take a short little strand of it, cut it, and then you can use that wire to wrap onto your wreath and hold those extra stems down. You just put it around a branch and twist it on, just like a twist tie. And then hide the end of the wire right back into the wreath. And if you need to, you can tuck the branches into the wreath some more. Now keep doing that until you've added all of the backsplash, we're gonna call it. So the longer sprigs. Now for your larger pieces and your heavier pieces, such as the berries or the pine cone, you're definitely going to want to cut a strand of wire and just wrap it as tight as you can towards the top of the stem of the berry. And that's just going to help support and hold those berries or pine cones into your wreath. Once you've got it snugged up and tight on there, you're going to thread it into your wreath like you've been doing with your other materials. And you can just pick a branch and loop the wire around the branch and tighten it down just to make sure that those berries don't go anywhere. And just hide those ends of the wire out of the way. And if you need to, you can add more wire towards the top of the berries to help hold them down, or you can leave them up like so. I'm going to do that to the same thing to my other sprig of berries. Just cut a piece of wire, cut a little strand of wire, or use the wire that we've given you. Wrap it around your berries like so. Weave your berries into your frame and then loop it around whichever piece of vine is closest. Now you don't have to worry too much about the tail of the wire, because if you remember, we're working from the outside in. So we're gonna have our nice big bow right here, and that's gonna hide all the extra wire. If you'd like to add your pine cones or other natural berries and things like that, you can use the wire and you can supplement it with hot glue if you need to. So I'm gonna do that now. The pine cones are great because you can add that wire in right on the scales and it'll help hold it a little bit better instead of the short little stem. just like that. We're gonna tuck the wire in there so you can't see those ends. Now, as far as your bow goes, you can flip your bow over, grab a strand of wire. You might want this one to be a little bit longer because it's gonna have to go through your bow. Clip that off, and just find somewhere in that bow where you can attach that wire. You can go all the way through the front, all the way through the front of the bow, just like that. Or if there's a good spot on the back where you can thread it through, you can thread it through the wire on the back. I'm gonna go all the way through the front of my bow. That looks a little bit easier for this bow, but it's gonna vary from bow to bow. And just find a branch on your wreath and connect it. And just spin that wire around the branch just like we've been doing. You're gonna want it nice and snug so that way it doesn't go anywhere. So try to tighten it up as best as you can and just wrap the wire just like kind of you would a twist tie. Now, after you've fidgeted with your bow, it's probably gotten a little bit flat like mine has. All you have to do is just fluff the bow back up using your fingers, and you should be able to move the loops of the bow to where you want them. Just like that. Make it nice and fluffy. Once you've gotten all your materials connected, you may realize that you need to add some more greenery to spruce it up or give it some more character. You can do that now, just make sure you try to push it behind everything that you've already added in there so that way it doesn't lay on top, it lays behind. And you can just continue to weave that in like we've been doing. If it's a more fragile piece, you might want to use more wire to help connect it in. And if at any point you feel like anything isn't super secure, such as the greenery, you can add just a dab of hot glue to hold it in there. Or if you want to add in acorns or anything like that, light things like that can be added with hot glue. So things like the dehydrated fruit, that would be a good thing to add with hot glue. Acorns, if you guys collected hickory nuts, those would be good to add with hot glue. If the stems of your greenery just aren't quite as secure as you'd like, just a touch of hot glue and that'll get you where you need to be. Now that I have finished securing my pine cones and adding some more little flowers and other little bits of greenery, I think I'm gonna call this done. Originally I said I like the bow on the side better, but looking at it now, I think that I like it on the bottom better. So your thoughts may change as you create your wreath and you finish it up. So this is gonna be my finished piece. You can take some fishing line to hang this up, or you can use some wire, whatever works for you. The fishing line I think works best for a low profile, no show hang, but it's whatever you prefer. You have all the materials, have some fun with it, redo your design as many times as you need. You are in the comfort of your own home, so take as much time as you want. You can play through this video a couple of times and try to, and even come up with your own methods of doing things. So there's a million different ways to do this. The easiest way was what I showed you by just weaving the stems into the frame, but you can weave them into the frame, you can wire them all in, you can hot glue them all in, whatever makes you happy and whatever makes you come up with the design that makes you the happiest. And like I said, it's totally up to you. Have some fun. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. If you have any questions as you're constructing your wreath, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We are constantly monitoring them as we speak. or you can give us a call or email at the contact information listed on the next slide. If you're interested in any other programs, check out our website at www.lynchburgparksandrec.com. We hope to see you soon.